Rinsa Sentai Kizunager, Bond 2, The Red Ranger and the Rivalry Bond. After Togo, Kizuna Red, gets defeated by No.1 Bondki, Souji Tegan, as he gets his Kizuna brace and bond plate taken from him, the Kizunagers, Nagure, Emily, Shuji, Tsukasa, Tenri, Kirihiro, Loji, Rainaya, Azra, Teltina, and Yadra, use their weapons to perform the victory maximum. Kizuna finished to knock Jadrize and the No.1 Bondki to the ground as they vanish from the scene. Meanwhile, in another world at the city of Mezes, Yadra helps patch up Togo's wounds with the help of Poseidon, which scares Togo a bit since he still doesn't approve of him dating Yadra. As the other Kizunagers were wondering who are the Bansouenders and why are they trying to stop them from building a new world, just then, Togo is being possessed by someone from Super Sentai history as the person revealed herself as Tega June, from No.1 Sentai Gozyuger, and explains to the Kizunagers that time has been altered by the Bansouenders as the bonded king prevent Tega's sword from ending the universe war and allow Tega June to be the one to finish it instead, which rewrites the entire timeline of the Gozyugers. This makes the Kizunagers shocked to find out that Tega June appears to tell them this information as she leaves Togo's body and returns back to her dimension. A few moments later, Teltina did some research on Souji's history with the help from Emily and Yadra as they found out that Souji was raised in a competitive family as he was the only one who couldn't beat his siblings, Juna and Nagure, at any challenges that they are good at. This drove Souji to train himself to conquer any challenge that he is facing as he has finally defeated his siblings and earned the title of the No.1 Challenger, but by winning the fight, it drove him to be separated from his family since he only cares about winning and being the best at everything. Togo and Kirihiro can understand why Souji takes his challenges seriously since it reminds them of their rivalry back then as they decided to head to the Tegan household to get some answers while the other Kizunagers are working on a way to defeat No.1 Bondki and save Souji. Back on Earth at the Kizunagers' secret base, Nagure along with Tenri and Azra ask Professor Pythagoras for his help alongside Professor Patchwork since both of them have the knowledge that they experienced together and have a pretty long history due to their rivalry back in the day. The two professors explains to Nagure and his friends that the Bondki was created by dark bond energy left behind during the Kizunagers' final battle against the Zetsuenders and the Demon Queen, and also tells them that the history of the Gozyugers has changed as the Bridals, enemies of the Gozyugers, are actually the heroes in their world called the Bridal Sentai Gojuneger. This makes the Kizunagers shocked to find out that the Bansouenders are changing Super Sentai history and uses it against them to prevent them from creating a new world. Back in another world, Togo and Kirihiro arrived at the Tegan household where they come across Juna and Nagure training with each other as they were shocked and surprised to see Togo and Kirihiro in front of them since they are fans of them when they save the kingdom from the Zetsuenders and the Demon Queen. As Togo and Kirihiro explains everything to Juna and Nagure about Souji becoming the No.1 Bondki, they explain to Togo and Kirihiro that their father, Ritanga, was the greatest warrior across the land who was one of the people to be selected to seal the Demon Queen for centuries, but as a result dying during his final battle. When Souji was younger, he always dreamt about following in his father's footsteps and wanted to be a warrior just like him, but losing to his siblings made him frustrated and determined to become better at everything, which made his dream turn into a desire as he doesn't consider his siblings as family anymore, but rivals instead. This makes Togo and Kirihiro shocked to learn that Souji's dream turned into something more as Juna and Nagure wished that they could make things right with him, but knowing that he won't listen to reason, but Togo still wants to form a bond with him since he believes that a rivalry doesn't have to be about hate, but also love as well. Back at the mansion, Togo and Kirihiro arrive back to meet up with their friends to look for Souji to free him from his dark bonds as Jadrize gives Togo a spare Kizuna brace and bond plate to allow him to transform into Kizuna Red again, as Nagure explains that by accepting to become a Bondki, The Super Sentai's timeline becomes altered by the Bansouenders, so now the Kizunagers split up to search for Souji around Japan and Avalost City to restore the Gozyuger's timeline and free him from his dark bonds. As Togo and Jadrize notice that the kingdom was under attack by Souji, as the villagers explains that he wants to finish off what he has started, which made Togo realize what he's referring to and runs off with Jadrize to find him before it was too late. Back at the Tega household, Juna and Nagure continue their training as they were shocked to see Souji coming back home after all these years, but he didn't come to see them as he transforms into the No.1 Bondki again to destroy them instead, so nobody can stand in his way until Jadrize uses her royal scepter to restrain Souji a bit, while Togo gets Juna and Nagure to safety as he charges at him to get him to listen. Togo shouts at Souji that a rivalry can form a bond, even if they don't see at first, and that he shouldn't let those dark bonds corrupt his dreams since he only wants to be like his father. Souji tells Togo to shut up as he was about to destroy him with his Tega sword until the others showed up to assist him and Jadrize to save him, as Souji summons a group of Ingekons to assist him. So now Togo and his friends pulled out their bond plates and inserts them into their Kizuna braces as they transform into the Kizunagers: red, blue, yellow, green, pink, silver, white, night, gold, orange, rise, and magus, to face against the No.1 Bondki and the Ingekons as they summon their weapons to defend themselves to restore the Gozyuger's timeline and save Souji from his dark bonds. As Togo along with Nagure, Emily, Shuji, and Tsukasa work together to face against Souji while the others are dealing with the Ingekons, Togo inserts the Kizuna Buster plate into his Kizuna brace to summon the Victory Kizuna Buster as he and his original teammates insert their bond plates to perform its finisher to take down the No.1 Bondki for good. But then Jadrize shows up at the scene and activates the bonded key again to revive Souji as he grows gigantic to wreak havoc across the kingdom. As Jadrize tells Togo and his friends that she along with the other Kizunagers will deal with Jadrize and the Ingekons while they deal with Souji's giant form, they insert their Kizuna beast plates into their Kizuna braces to summon their Kizuna beasts: Friendly, Trustorm, Promise Striker, Unicon, and Love Mariner, to combine together to form the maximum Kizunagers to save the people of Avalost City from No.1 Bondki's wrath. As the original Kizuna 5 are piloting the Kizunagers to deal with No.1 Bondki to free Souji from his dark bonds, Jadrize and the other Kizunagers have defeated the Ingekons as they are struggling to take down Jadrize on their own until she notices that her royal scepter is forging a different variation of the Victory Kizuna Buster, as she calls it, the Elemental Magus Bazooka, for her and the other Kizunagers to use as they insert their bond plates to perform their finisher to finally defeat Jadrize for good as he transported back to Shredon to recover. Meanwhile, the Kizuna 5 are having a difficult time dealing with Souji as he keeps summoning the Gozyuger's personal weapons for him to use to weaken the Kizunagers. Jadrize decided to use her royal scepter to forge a shield for the Kizunagers to use to protect itself, called the Victory Kizuna Blocker, as the Kizuna 5 charges at Souji to weaken him a bit and call upon the Great Bond Sword for the Kizunagers to use to perform the maximum Kizuna Slash to finally defeat No.1 Bondki for good to free Souji from his dark bonds. But Teltina retrieved the Gozyuger bonded key as it changed into a bond plate called the Gozyuger Legend Bond Plate and gives it to Jadrize to examine it. A few moments later, Souji looks at his siblings and the Kizunagers as he feels ashamed about what he has done as the No.1 Bondki and begs for their forgiveness. But Togo approaches Souji and tells him that he knows that he didn't mean to go berserk by his goal to be like his father, and that even if you aren't good at anything at all, it's never too late to try. So now Souji gets up from the ground as he apologizes to his siblings and wants them to be a family again, as they happily accept his forgiveness and welcome him back to the family after all these years. As the Kizunagers left the household to leave Souji to be with his siblings again, Jadrize tells Togo that she scanned Souji's body and detects no signs of dark bond energy inside him anymore, but she is concerned about the Bansouenders and their plan to stop them from creating a new world. especially if they altered time to do so. Togo looks back at Jadrize and tells her that if the Bansouenders wants to stop them from creating a new world where magic and bonds live in harmony, then he along with the Kizunagers will be ready to save both Earth and another world from their evil schemes as they return back to the mansion to celebrate their first victory. Meanwhile at Shred Dawn, Jadrize is furious that he was defeated by the Kizunagers as he regains his strength until he come across the second executive of the Bansouenders named Hanaka, the Flowery Kunoichi Bonder, who laughs at Jadrize for failing to destroy the Kizunagers as she pulls out the Boom bonded key to find a worthy user who is cranked up and ready to spin the wheel.